Hi everyone, welcome once again to KM Fuse of the Cup, and today we are going to be discussing a very crucial topic in our workplace life, which is work-life balance. Actually here it's called workplace integration, work-life integration, because you cannot quite have a 50-50 on your personal life and also your work life. And on set we have Eva and Roslyn. Ladies, you're welcome, and kindly introduce yourselves.
Hi everyone, my name is Evangeline Mukami, a workplace wellness specialist. I'm glad to be here to be able to discuss about work-life integration or work-life balance and see how we can strike a balance between work and life.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Roslyn. I am a workplace mentor and human resource analyst, and I'm glad to be on set today.
Welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
I am still trying to get used to this word, the integration part. I've always known it as work-life balance. So we would like to understand what is work-life balance or work-life integration in a way it can be understood, like I would say in its simplest form. We can start on that end. The way you are looking at me, I know you are.
So, in a layman's language, having a work-life balance or integration for an employee or an employer or the people in the workplace is to be able to achieve the books. When you read most books, they are saying equilibrium. Equilibrium is that thing that kupima kilo, so none is bending.
Ni hiyo kweli ya kupima kilo. It's called
The scale.
The scale.
Okay. Oh.
Scale.
Like in the it's the scale.
The scale.
So it's balanced, like it's not wobbling to any side. So like a worker is balanced in the workplace, at home, socially, mentally, spiritually, like all those things. I think that's why Eva is saying integrated. Like if you integrate all those things, there's none that is lacking. For example, you spend so much at work and maybe the family, the children never get to see you, or your wife never gets to see you. Even your mom is calling from the village, hey, porini, utakuja rini? So like every aspect of your life is met and none is lacking. So that's my simple definition of a work-life balance.
So I think we can also get a second definition so that Eva, kindly.
Okay, thank you. So, what Roslyn has said, just to add something small, is a situation where a worker, and where we are saying a worker, not an employee, is because even if you're running your own business,
It's a work.
you work there. Because many a times you look at these informal workplace, like when we discuss about work-life balance or aspects within workplaces, we only think of formal employment, but we have people working the jua kali, self-employed people, people who do work from home, different contexts within the workplaces or where people work. It's being able to identify or to be able to input or have aspects, the physical, all their needs well taken care of. So they're able to be productive at work. They're able to take care of their personal needs That could be spiritual, religious activities, could be families, the social aspects, to ensure it may not, many a times, work takes work takes a lot of, a bigger percentage of our attention, our resources, you know, in terms of time, and the input we give. Work takes a bigger, so we may not have 50-50, but there are days, probably over the weekend, your social life takes 80%. Within the weekday, you may give your work maybe 80%. So we are not saying at every point, your work, your social life, your personal needs they're 50-50 or 60-60, or but it's being able to recognize that an employee or a worker, they are more than the work. They have different needs at personal level that need to be taken care of for them to be productive at work. So these actually personal needs, the end product is to have this person productive at work and being able to, they have no regrets. You know, like someone go to 50, they've not been married because the work has
Spent more time.
Yeah, they spent more time at work. They've not had time to go back to school because all they do is just work.
They kept on postponing starting that master's degree.
Yeah, or even they as parents, we do not have time for our children because we're just at work.
We go out
And
at 4 in the morning. Nowadays, is it 4 or 5?
Yeah, you
We are
see,
back
you
at
see
9,
also
5.
parents leaving, because this also involves decisions we make. You see, even at 4 a.m., you've seen on the media, children as the lower grade on the
stage.
road at waiting for
the
school
school
transport
bus.
at 4 a.m. That's
Yeah.
already a crisis.
I hear
So
it's
those are
supposed
some
to
of
be
the
training.
decisions.
I hear it's supposed to be training.
Training of
The
hard
children.
life.
Hard life
School of hard knocks.
and
But you see, these are
And
decisions
corporate
that
life.
parents make. I want to live in a far place, but I want my child to go to a good place, to a good or a school of choice. So to be able to be accommodated in the school bus takes the children up to 4 a.m. But who wakes up to prepare the children? The same Pauline is going to work. So by the time you get to your office, you're already very staggered, as in you're sleepy,
You're already
you're
sleepy.
irritable, you're feeling, oh my God, it's 8 o'clock, you're feeling like it's 1 p.m.
You're already tired and it's
The
in the
day
morning.
becomes very, so it's every decision that we make to be able to ensure that we are able to be productive at a personal level and within the work environment.
in the work. So actually, this sounds like integration, which might not even be perfect. Like you're saying, one day you're doing 80% of your personal life, another day you're doing even 10. You know, at one time at work you're required to do like 100.
Yeah.
Because if you're having a meeting at 6:30, for example, and after that meeting there is so much to be done, and the same day you still realize that you have other deadlines. So I am seeing giving it the integration phase is makes a lot of sense. But again, in this work-life balance, there is so much. People look at it differently. Like one person will say that you really have to put in, for you to achieve, you have to put in this much. You have to keep. In fact, some organizations, they only talk about performance. They will only talk about the hours, So, what could be some of the characteristics of a balanced, a well-integrated personal life and work life? What would be, how does it look like when you look at it?
Okay, personally, I think the initiative should come from you. Because I know of bosses, if you show them that you are available to work, they can give you work to do. I have been in the office not once, not twice, up to 8 p.m. at night. because I showed the boss, it's okay, just give me the work, I'll do it.
But Rosalind, even before you've showed whatever you have to, you know, there's a way it goes there. You're seeing this job, you know, it's attractive, you apply, you're getting in there. Even, I'm sure even after the interview, you will ask,
I'm flexible.
you'll be saying all those things, you know, and then you'll also want to know how success looks like in this organization. You'll always pop that question: how does success look like? How am I supposed to be in the the first 100 days of my work here? You know, that is where most of us start from there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's supposed to be a personal initiative. Even after finding out all that, you must know how far you can go, the boundaries that you could cross or not cross. I remember I used to be, should I call it workaholic? I used to be like so attached to my work, and I didn't want to leave without finishing work. So I would find myself in the office sometimes up to 6, sometimes up to 7. Yet the stipulated working hours are 8 to 5, and I'm not being paid overtime, remember. And so one day I decided just to make a conscious decision, and I even put a reminder on my phone. When it's 4:45, the alarm speaks to me, Rosaline, it's time to go home. I'm reminded. So that's what I'm telling you, it's supposed to be a personal initiative to say that I want to have this integration, this balance that I want. Because sometimes if you let the others decide for you, maybe your colleagues or your boss, you'll hardly achieve it.
And on the same, at different levels of work or career path, as there are times someone needs to put more, and at times for me, I was also in a similar situation, but I felt I needed to prove something, and I felt I had job insecurity. That if I lose this job, this is all that I have.
The best I can ever have.
Yeah, this is the best that I can have. But currently now where I am, even if I got the highest job, I would know. It got to a place, and I love the idea of conscious. The last 2 years, consciously, because there were days I would leave even the office at 3 a.m. 3 a.m. Yani,
next day.
I go to that office. I go to that office. Someone would think probably you have other things that you're doing, and yes, actually someone called me and I said I'm going home now. I said, going home now from where? From where? You're in the office. So what we are saying, and remember when we talk about work-life balance, it is not the duration of time you spend doing a task. That's why it's no longer working hard. It's working smart. And in work-life balance, we look at those activities. Do you know you could be doing a task the entire day, the task that requires 30 minutes?
Yeah.
And why? If you only, and for me, we will get where we will even talk about how to integrate those activities even as you work. Because at times, you'll eat your lunch from your desk. You'll take your tea from your desk. Even my friend says, karibu utume mtu akuendee choo. As in, you're literally stuck in that desk. Not knowing, when you wake up to fetch a glass of water, your brain even breathes and you think differently and you tackle the task differently.
But also, you know, let me just go back to where we started. You might be thinking this is the best job I'll ever have. I want to work hard, I want to prove this, I want to do all these things. So it's usually a process. You start here, then you get to some point you realize this one is not even working the way I thought. And now you get to making a conscious decision. But now after making that decision again, there is a process. The process of following that through. Because, old habits. Like if I get to work.
But when you make conscious decision, and you realize, like for me, I realize now I hardly have time to check my son's homework Because when you get to the house at 3 a.m., seriously, what can you do?
Nothing.
So I also did this course now on work-life integration, where I also picked personally areas that was not giving my my studies, things that I love to do. One of the greatest things that I learned during the work-life integration was the wheel of life.
Now, Eva, before we get to the wheel of life now, you know, not everyone will start questioning the system. I don't know whether not everybody will get to that point and they could question the system.
But then, you know, it's not questioning the system. It has nothing to do with the system, because in Kenya we know most workplace is 8 to 5
or 9 to.
But you find a culture where people somehow it's like we're even running away from our homes. You get people, that day I left at 3 a.m.
I am smiling because you know you get to that organization. Gosh. Okay, let me say system, quote in quotes. You get to that organization, you realize wewe ukiingia hiyo saa 2 like niwe peke yako. No unapita na bag zako. I'm saying that because it has happened to me.
But there's also this situation. I remember not so long ago, I used to be that early bird in our office, and everybody knew that. Okay, me, I'm a morning person. I function very well in the morning.
You are?
As compared, yeah, me, I'm a morning person. I function very well in the morning as compared to evenings or afternoons. So most of the time, by 6:30, 6:45, I'm in the office. Meaning I left my house at around 5:30, 5:45.
So go up at 5.
So most of the time at 7, I'm in the office. And so everybody, kila kajua, like Roslyn is an early bird. So nobody used to bother to come to the office early, because after all,
Roslyn will be there. She'll set up the space for us.
We were serving the public. So like 8 on the dot, you're supposed to have, you know, Kenyans, if you're not there, they start asking, they start calling State House, they start tweeting. So 8 on the dot.
Tweeting?
Yeah, start tweeting. They start using the X space, unanikwa in short. So every single day of my life in that organization, I used to be there at 7 serving. So I'll serve, my colleagues will start talking in at 8:30, 9, 10. So I got so attached to doing that I missed out on so many other issues. For example, this one really iliniuma. You know the way every year you project training needs. So I had projected a training course that I didn't have. Apparently you had to follow up from the HQ, because we don't sit in the HQ. So I didn't, because I was so like, the public won't give you space, because you are there literally serving them. The only time you're getting a breather is around 3. And that 3, you are so tired, there's nothing else you can, because you have been doing the talking.
You woke up early.
You woke up early, so like umechapa. So my training, the course I project, I really needed to go for that training, because I wanted a promotion. So I never had the time to follow up on that training projection.
You missed out.
And I missed out on that opportunity. So that one really, really, really affected me. So I'm like, so I am the donkey of this office. I come, serve clients. Other people are following up on their things. Maybe I'm just there. And that thing really affected me, and you'll never find me in the office at 7.
So that has been your revenge since then.
But it's a white person, no? Nothing happened to her. You know, what I say for me when you're striking work-life integration is ensure you're within the policies. Don't say now, because you can't come at 7, let's come at 9. No, if the office operates between 8 and 5, ensure within that time you're within. So you're not being big-headed, but what you realize that, because that day I left at 3 a.m., the watchman said, nikamuliza, why is that office, the lights are still on? He said, my other colleague is still. So when I thought, and 4 offices, guys were still in the office. So it becomes a culture where someone says, and for me, when I get to the house, I don't work. But this work, this is it. But what I realized that the work, kazi haitakuliwa na panya. You know, the homework, you know, the work will still be there unless it is critical, it is an emergency. And my former boss used to ask, who is dying? Who is dying? I mean, if it's a case of life and death, we can work overnight. But if the whatever you're doing has a deadline for 1 week, it's lack of proper planning. And now that is where now work-life balance. Probably now over the weekend or when you ought to have done the work, you're there doing your own personal things. So you're unable to finish this task. And so when you are aware that I need to find my space within this organization and align to the policies that are there, because the policies are there clearly. So it's if my boss, even my boss used to say, what are you still doing in the office? But I still felt I needed to prove that this position, I am worth it. When I was given a promotion I didn't expect, very big, that almost killed me. So you're dying by all because people were waiting for your downfall. So hii lazima uchemke. But this kuchemka means what? You're very irritable. You're wondering, it's 5. Why are you going home? You're almost even telling now what you follow even the people you supervise to their homes. I need you to send, because you're working, you think everyone, so you cause crisis to everyone.
So what I'm hearing you say, it's personal. But like what you say, now it's getting clearer. This is personal, but
it's
you see,
personal initiative.
yeah. But now, not everybody will get to that point, you know. Not everybody will get to that point.
That's why we are having this discussion.
Yeah, not everybody will see kila mtu atajiambia, especially now when we also bring the aspect of us millennials and the fears we are fearing everything. Yeah? You're fearing, you don't want to appear like you upendi job.
But
you don't. Yeah, it's
if the ethics, inaitwanga code of ethics. Ama ile civil servants inaitwangaje, the red book that has
the
all the rules.
Yeah, it's code of regulations.
If it has indicated clearly that working hours are 8 to 5, why would somebody cascade me because I left at 5?
They wouldn't. And you know also what that shows, Pauline. Some people also, it's their leave. They're entitled to leave, but they'll not go on leave. And that also has various connotation or interpretation where someone feels Pauline does something in this office that is personal. That's why she always wants to be. Yes, kuna like corruption.
Actually, it's best said in Kiswahili. Kuna inaitangwaje? Kuna miradi anaendelezanga hapa while everyone else is away.
Recently there were transfers. The transfers I was telling you about, we were to go in different offices. But personally, like, I don't know what is happening in my office because I was given a transfer and they don't release me. And your ministry lands.
My God.
I don't know what
Which
happens.
Ministry of
I don't know what happens there in that RD house.
I mean neither.
So apparently, people refused to go for transfer until they were unequaled with their names, like the different saying Rosalind Nandika, Pauline Njiru, Eva. They refused to go for transfer.
Yeah, so some of these things you see that people do not want to go on leave, because when you go on leave, you go to do your personal thing. You either go to school, you go sleep, you know. Those are some of the personal issues that we are talking about. You have time with your family. So some people will not. Actually, we've had even government officials in these offices, in this country, who have collapsed in the office, fatigued,
That's where we came
burnout.
From. People never used to go to leave because they feel like if you go on leave I don't know, somebody will take your position.
Yeah,
I don't know.
insecurity.
Someone will take your
Security.
clients.
The miradi. People
don't want to go and
actually,
leave.
I work somewhere where someone says hata nikienda leave hapa hakuna mtu anaweza fanya ile kazi ninaweza fanya.
Exactly.
And she used to threaten everyone until when she went on leave. I was there, we never called her. And I told my team, we are not going to, and the work was done.
She
so,
must have karibu apate depression, because you're used to being consulted.
Yes.
Everything.
And
then all of a sudden,
when you go and leave, you don't want to be called. Some people actually want to be called. My boss used to say, if you go and leave and you're not called, just know there is a problem. But I think that is the wrong notion in terms of mentorship and, you know, inaitwa nini, the where if you vacate that office, will it be vacant?
No, if you die.
Someone has to. We must continuously think of succession.
Actually, there's something that I got to learn. Nikiwa nimeketi kwa ofisi ya mtu, that the person, a particular boss had passed away. Like zile tu nasikiaga, he went somewhere, then he was found dead. And it so happened, it was end month like this, end month. So the death was reported, like it was, I think, like 5 days before, 6 days before. So you see the way the salary usually comes at the usual way at the end of the month. Now the discussion that was there was how they're going to claim the 6 days, because you know the person passed on this and this date, but amelipwa up to the end of, actually it was a serious, yeah. They were discussing. So the file was moving because this person, the death was reported on this day, but the salary was effected kama kawaida tu up to the 30th day. And that's when now you realize, my God, you know you're not, yeah,
You may not
like
be
that.
relevant as you think.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're not in
There
that
was
office.
a time I was thinking if I left where I worked, the company would.
I think
My friend, the
it's just
company has
being-
got its own lifespan.
It's being entitled and thinking that you are indispensable.
Exactly.
That's
Exactly.
just entitlement.
That's why you need to overwork. You need to prove your point. Currently, now having taken time off employment since March, I am in a so better place to be able to see my space within an organization.
Yeah.
You know, at times you go occupy and you feel entitled. I am a manager, no one can step. My friend, even
there's
the
so many-
executive director can leave.
In these offices, there's so much entitlement on.
Yeah, we've seen that. And
Like,
people don't
plus
seem
where
to
we work
realize.
With you, people think that if I'm not in this seat, nobody else can.
I also
Yeah.
felt that. There was a time I felt if I left,
The company is going to
this
collapse.
is doomed. As
Never.
in, you know, and you feel entitled. You feel like but you're not. And that's why you need to go and live, full live, so that you also start to get in touch that you're not the organization, you're not the company.
Okay, I've also had leave is a privilege, not a
It's not a privilege, please.
HR.
Yeah, it's a privilege. It's not a right,
It is a right.
but it's a human right. You can't work 24.
It's a privilege, not a right.
It's
Yeah.
a right.
It's a privilege.
It's a right.
Some
Okay, it's a right and a
organizations,
privilege.
some organizations. That's why, if it's a right, people would take even organizations to court, because it's in some. Even us seated here, how many of us even give our house girls like leave for 1 month?
See that off.
Ile Sunday.
And
But it's in the Employment
Saturday
Act.
jioni.
that is not nini.
It's in the Employment Act. the
Saturday jioni.
Anarudi.
Narudi Sunday
leave.
jioni.
Actually,
But there's some
it's just
companies-
us. It's just us that don't follow the rules.
Yeah.
But they're actually entitled.
Okay, now we are here. I'm still on.
You
how
have
does
some characteristics?
I'm still on that. How does it look like? You know.
So for me, it's
If there's
characteristics
no
of
work-life balance,
No, how does a balanced?
characteristic of
how a balance look
an
like?
integrated workplace.
Yeah.
I think this is where the policies are in line or in sync with the employees or the workers' needs. You know, where they recognize that women in their reproductive age and men needs paternity and maternity leave. You know, there is a lactation room. If I'm breastfeeding, I could go there, and you know, if I go back to work,
A daycare,
I am able to function. There is basic things like washroom, sanitation. There is safety within the workplace, the leave days, the off days, the sick leave. You know, the policies are in line with the needs. And even when it's not in the policy, like I remember, in a place where I worked, the compassionate leave was 3 days. If you lost, no, it was 3 days from the policy, and it has to be a nuclear family member. But the management had a different approach. You know, where someone would get a week, 2 weeks. Depending also who has died, or if you had a sickly child, you know, there was that room for, you know, it's not in the policy, or the policy does not say this, but we are able to come through and to be able to support this person during this time. So I think that is one very key characteristic of a workplace, that is it has the mission of having work-life integration, that the needs of the employee, they are looked into, they are considered, and employees are given space to thrive.
And is there a discussion prior to determination of what is supposed to be there at the workplace? Of course, I know with the policy, it is stipulated, well, this has to be here, a mother's room, you know, all those things. But usually there's supposed to be a discussion, like someone can ask your view, like, Roslyn, what do you think about this particular area, this particular area?
It's supposed to be an inclusive discussion that brings on board the employer, the employee, so that it's not the boss making a decision that maybe favors them or is not favoring the other. But so I strongly believe it should be an all-inclusive discussion. Then I think that's where now the welfare office comes in. We should have a strong welfare office that is looking into the matters of the workers at the workplace. And then that is where Madam Eva comes in. There should be also a very strong working wellness office, because matters that come with work-life balance, there's a lot of also wellness issues that comes with them. And I always say that in any workplace, there should be a functioning wellness office and a functioning welfare office. Those two very important.
Welfare, wellness.
Yeah.
Well, we wish to take a break right there. We are going to be back with the same conversation. I hope you're liking our pages once more. I hope you're subscribing. And we also hope these conversations are impacting your lives at the workspaces. See you next time.